I'm Cindy Lauper. My psoriasis was all over, even on my scalp, which may mean 4 times the risk for psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx works on both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX. Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of can't-miss deals just in time for summer.
The denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses. I always find something amazing.
Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
It's time to rewrite the vacation rules. With Royal Caribbean, your family can look forward to just about anything. Break the thrill barrier, roaring down the tallest water slide in North America. Jump into breathtaking jungles and jaw-dropping coves. Vibe off the charts on our private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And end the day knowing things are just getting started. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hi, this is Javon, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. I can even help schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Whatever you need.
So the first room we're looking at is for...
Shop Blinds.com now and get up to 50% off with minimum purchase. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man. Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid. Detroit Koolaid drinkers. Let me fill up that glass real quick.
Drink it in, man.
Gotta add a nice, delicious double-sided cornbread.
Cornbread!
Today on the show, normally it's me going solo every blue moon, at Chops in the D, Choppy Chop, the guy that likes to say woo-wee a lot.
Woo! Hashtag Choppy Liking.
He tries to give himself hashtags. You guys know what it is. He's always here talking his boola boola. But today, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only from Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated, formerly All Lions writer extraordinaire, draft expert. He's probably going to tell you about 3 cones and athleticism, and I'll get into the same fights I always do. But he's here to talk Lions, have a little fun. He's sort of been out of the loop, but not really, so he's glad to be here today, and we're glad to have him. Logan Lamorandier here to talk some Lions. Logan, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Oh, doing great, fellas. Glad to be back. It's been too long, and looking forward to this. I I haven't given too many draft thoughts this year, so I'm going to put them all on the table today.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. There's been so much since the draft. How'd you feel as it happened? We were live on the microphone, so can't wait to get into it. We can't mess around, but my co-host at Chops in the D, Chops, you're there. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I am just giddy as a schoolgirl on Christmas. Logan Lamorandier is on the show on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. I could not be happier. It's the three-man show again. Oh, Logan, happy to have you, buddy. Welcome to the fold. Have you been listening to the Kool-Aid packets?
Oh, I've been listening as much as I can. You know how that goes.
We got 2 Kool-Aid packets a week. You're here on the flagship, the Detroit Koolaid Cast flagship. So let's get right into it, man. We don't dance around. We got so many questions, topics, things to get into. So Logan, I'm just gonna fire this first one off. I probably said I was gonna let Chops talk, but why would I do that here on the show? Like, I need to know from you, where are you at with this whole go get our guys approach, no matter what, trading whatever, moving up in multiple early rounds, giving up future picks, but hey, we got our guys. We got Detroit Lions guys. We got gritty guys. Are you for this approach and think, man, it's going to work out because Brad Holmes don't miss too much and Dan freaking Campbell knows what he's doing? Or are you going to go to your analytical side and be like, but I don't know if we should have gave up all those assets. We could. Where are you at with this? Because this is the dilemma. This is the question of the day. I'm coming right out the gates with it.
I don't know. I like that question because you really can't talk too much about Brad Holmes and what he's doing. So there's a reason he's a GM. There's a reason the Lions are in the position where they're in. And quite frankly, in a spot where it's never been like this since they've been alive. This is the best situation they've ever been in. So, like, any criticism I have towards Brad Holmes, it's truly coming from someone who has no idea what they're doing. It's just my opinion. And yes, I would probably do things differently. But to answer your question, I understand everyone has their own board. My board is different than everyone else's board. And you like players, and they have all the intangibles that you like to talk about that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
So I understand why they fall in love with certain players. But at the same time, I think if you look at the consensus big board of all these draft analysts and players that they like, more often than not, I feel like GMs sometimes outsmarts themselves. So you know what? I'll tell you right off the bat that yes, I do have some issues with these middle round draft picks that Brad Holmes always trades up and trades future draft capital to move up for a player to draft someone, which is totally fine. But then usually the player he drafts is like 2 rounds earlier than whenever this player thinks he's going to go. So that's really the only problems I have. And, you know, you look at it like Giovanni Manu, yeah, jury's still out. You don't really know what he's becoming, but that was a project, and that was something the Lions gave up a good amount of draft capital to go get and was drafted earlier than a lot of people thought he would. Broderick Martin is another example. Colby Sorsdahl to a certain extent, you know, not as much draft capital they're giving up, but these middle round players that they just have to have, they haven't really worked out great. But everything else Brad Holmes has done has been awesome. Right. But the middle round guys, they just, I question that because not only are you selecting a player who not everyone feels should be going in that round, but you're also giving up a lot of draft capital to take that risk. So I just feel like it's huge risks. If they pay off, he looks like a genius, but they haven't really paid off yet. But in the other rounds, like if you're talking first round, second round, where you're maybe trading up a couple spots, or you have to do what you do to go get a guy, that's fine. Or if you're just staying at the spot, your actual draft selection, and like take your player. But it's the trade-ups that do get me, where it's just like you're putting a whole lot more risk into the equation when you're giving future draft capital to, you know, quote, reach for certain players that they really like.
Chops, I'm throwing it to you, but I got the exact answer I hoped for, which was you can't argue with Brad Holmes. I'd do it differently. Some have worked, some haven't. He's right on the fence like normal. Logan's back, baby. I love it. Choppy, go ahead.
Ride that fence, yeah.
Spot on, spot on. He's
Gotta
not going to
cover
pick a
all.
side, folks. He's going to ride the line. Oh, I love it. I love it. So, I think, and the funny part is that I agree with you a lot of that, Logan. Like, until those middle trade up picks kind of hit, like, you're kind of left waiting. But I want to, like, let's talk about a player here that he traded up to get. I've deemed him Tate Rat. That's the new nickname, patent pending. But again, involving a trade, moving back 100 spaces from 130 to 230 to go up 3 spots to grab Tate Rat. What were your thoughts on that initially, and now that you've had some time to break it down?
Liked the player a lot. Thought he was a great fit, culture guy. I feel like that was a very popular choice for the Lions in the second round. They needed an interior guard or interior line, younger players to cheapen the offensive line as a whole on the salary cap. So I love the player, love the pick. Great pass protector, and despite being one of those dirtbag type of guys, he has power, but I feel like pass protection is what he's probably best at. So I had no problem doing that. And yes, you did give up draft capital, but I understand, looking at the guards that, with Glasgow and Mahogany, I like both those guys, but I think they did need something else because Glasgow wasn't necessarily great last year. And I don't know if that's just a down year or at his age, if he's going to be able to bounce back. And Mahogany only had 2 starts, but looked really good when he did play. So that was a question mark. So that was a need. And I felt like there was, a bit of a drop off after Ratledge. So I'm all for that. Had no problem with that, despite having to give up, a fair amount just to move up a couple of spots. But I like it. And, again, it was not like he was a player that no one saw, that no one had on their draft boards that high. He went around where I thought he was supposed to.
Yep, totally agree. I think initially, he was a guy that was kind of not on our radar. I think because Oakley and I were so enamored with Gray Zabel and hoping and praying that he was going to fall to us at 28. So,
Yeah.
But after being able to kind of dive into it, obviously it was a position of need. And when you don't have a ton of those, when you do have a glaring hole with aging vets, it makes sense to make that move.
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, you can find starting guards in the second, third, even fourth round. And it's just a good spot to take them. So yeah, that was probably actually, one of my favorite picks of the entire draft was taking Ratledge. Miles Frazier, another interior offensive lineman guy. Brad Holmes seems to do that every year too. For the guys he has to have that he takes in the middle rounds, I feel like he always does select a player in like the 5th, 6th, or 7th round that it's like, what's that guy still doing there? And that was Miles Frazier to me because I thought he could have gone a couple rounds earlier. So now they're pretty loaded up on the interior with younger players, which is what they need, especially if they're going to have to keep paying their tackles and center, obviously.
Oakley, get the bell ready because, this is where Choppy goes, hey, what's the great part is on the clock, your boy Choppy Chop picked Miles Frazier as well right before the Lions actually made the pick. So I was very happy with that pick.
Nice.
In fact, I had Miles Frazier as my next rated guard after Tate Ratledge. So to get him that far down was a steal a heck of a steal, in my opinion.
It wouldn't have surprised me at all if he was a second or third round, like a day 2 pick. So I do wonder a little bit why he slid, but good for the Lions, and yeah, that was amazing value there.
All right, Oak, let's get back to the co-host here. Oak, you just let us go back and forth. I know you're just sitting back, hitting your little drops there, getting ready to, make fun of us here. But what you got? What's next?
Well, I'm waiting for you to pass it back to me so we can get some entertaining content. I have so many follow-ups. First of all, Logan, just to catch you up on some of the gimmicks on the show, we have a new one, which is like, I'll do it this way. When Chops pats himself on the back or says hashtag what Choppy said, or I told you so, or look at what I did and it came true, our new gimmick is whoop-de-doo, Buzzle. because no one cares. So there's that. The other thing I want to throw out is like, what was your reaction to, again, hashtag what Choppy said on the nickname Tate Rat? Was it this or this? What was your instant reaction when you heard that creative genius from @Chops in the D? You guys can find him on the Twitter, the X Machine.
I thought he was going to finish the name at first. He just stopped at Rat. I'm like, oh, all right, Tate Rat. So
I think it has a little potential. I mean, with the I think he's going with the, instead of mullet, the rat tail and the dirt bag and all the. So I think he's trying to go there. I don't mind it. It's one of his better. It's not like a sentence long or kind of makes no sense. So I give him a little credit.
Oakrey's a little butthurt because it's getting love on the Twitterverse. I had a couple of shout outs. They're like, digging the nicknames, go Tate Rat. So Oakrey's got to get his dig in now.
I agree with Logan, though. Is it a nickname when it's really just kind of the guy's name, except you stopped halfway through the end? I mean, is that a nickname, or is that just like you getting confused and not being able to finish the name? I don't know. All right, so that's neither here nor there. That's gimmickatry. That's what we do on the show. You had so many good football takes. I won't repeat them all. I didn't sleep through them like I normally do on the show. They were tremendous. I want to ask you this, though, about the right guard, interior offensive lineman. Hey, we're tougher than you. We've got multiple dirtbag. We can push you around. Grit. Like, are we getting to the point where we have not only too many right guards? Yes, they can be cross-trained, but you know how that goes when you have to learn a total opposite side or moving people all around. It feels like over the last, 3 years, you named some of the guys earlier. Chops patted himself on the back for one name that he named, and then we got Tate Rat. We got all these interior players. Everyone knew it was somewhat a need because we're planning for like when Frank's not here, and hey, Glasgow didn't play well for a couple games. Like, is it a? You're gonna love this one, Logan. This is a classic here. It's one of my new catch phrases on the show. Is it an over proliferation of resources to the interior offensive line, or is it we're just stocking the cupboards because that's where we win. Inside, we beat you up, we run the football. What do you think?
I think it's the latter because I think this whole offense is predicated on having a great offensive line. And we ran into some depth issues last year. And, there's 3 interior offensive linemen that you need to make sure you have guys who can go in there and actually play if one of them gets hurt, and one of them will get hurt. And with Frazier, he has shorter arms, so he played some tackle, but literally because his arms didn't probably reach that 33-inch mark threshold, it's like, oh, it's interior time, and that's where he played mostly the last 2 years was at right guard, with one game at right tackle, but I think he's kind of like a left guard, even though he played right guard in college. I think if he can be a left guard, it probably fits his skill set more because, again, like Ratledge, he's more of a pass protector than actually like a road grader. I would say Mahogany right now is probably the biggest road grader of the guards we have. And Glasgow, I have to imagine, this could possibly be his last year with the team. So you need the younger players to be able to step up down the line, and now that they have the guys that they need, So I don't have any concerns about putting too many resources into the offensive line because Jared Goff plays his best when he's clean and has a run game, and it's been working well for us the past couple of years.
So you're not worried about an over proliferation, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, Colby Sorsdahl, it does, he's on the outside looking in now, and that was.
I just wanted to say the word, to be honest.
Yeah, so
I think that you're right on all the hey, we kind of retool and stuff, but I do think that some of these guys are going to get pushed out because the other guys are going to be better. But it's a lot of, hey, we got this interior guard in the 2nd and the 5th and a few years ago in the 4th, and we took Manu who might play guard if he can't play. It's like a lot of interior, which people love in this town, and people say what a great value. But there's sort of a reason they're values because they're interior offensive linemen that you can usually find later, and we're finding them early, late, middle, double dip. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping it works, but I think it's maybe a little over proliferation. I'm just saying. Chop chop. Go ahead. What else you got for him?
I want to get Logan's thoughts real quick on is he as excited about the potential of the offensive line looking like Penne on the left with Tate Rat and Mahogany or Frazier at center, and then the other at right guard, and then Gio Manu over on the right side at tackle. How does that sound? All young bucks under 25 years old, rocking the O-line, all drafted, homegrown, Brad Holmes cooking.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. You just need these guys to develop a little bit. Yeah, Manu, who even knows what to think about him right now, because he was inactive pretty much every game last year. So it's like, I hope he's taking the right steps, and he's got a steep learning curve coming from, where was it, British Columbia, wherever he came from. I'm forgetting right now.
CFL, Canadian League, was it?
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more flavor to pair with all the amazing food in the city. You can have the best meal in the world here, if you can get a reservation. Vitamin Water is so New York, its 3 favorite cheeses are chopped cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, and a slice of cheese pizza. We know where to get the best sushi in the city, and best nachos, and best bagels, and best... you get it. And you can find food trucks better than 5-star restaurants. Drink Vitamin Water. It's from New York.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Is it again?
Somewhere up north. But yeah, I mean, if he developed into something, that would just be massive for the offensive line. And he's just a massive human being too. So the intimidation factor, their offensive line would be scary.
Yep, totally agree. All right, I think before we hit the break here, I want to get a take from you, Logan. I know we've loved the love for the Lions draft. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I want you to tell me who was your least favorite pick this year, and give me some of reasons why either you didn't like the pick, or you thought it was a reach, or you thought it wasn't a need. Give me one where you just kind of shook your head and didn't agree with the man, Brad Holmes.
So I think the easy one is Isaac Tesla, but it's weird because I really liked him as a player, but I thought I really liked him as like a 5th round pick because he had all the tools and the traits, but the production at Arkansas wasn't necessarily insane, and he was a big slot. But as Brad Holmes even mentioned in his press conference after they drafted him, it was music to my ears, because I'm like, well, where is he going to line up? Because he's not going to see much slot. We already have slot guys. And Holmes pretty much said, yeah, he can play on the outside, but that's a projection where we haven't really seen it. On film, it's like everything's in the slot. So it's just, again, it's a learning curve there, and they gave a lot of draft capital to move up and get him. But I mean, his hands are awesome. I don't think he dropped a ball at Arkansas. Um, and then yeah, it's mostly just he has to develop, and he's also a local kid, which is an awesome story. But like truthfully, I think the biggest issue I had was probably Tyleik Williams, knowing that he in the first round, yes, he is a big nose tackle, which we need, but and he's often compared to Ali McNeil, but Ali McNeil was a third round pick and was more athletic and had all the same run stuffing grades and the run stops that Williams pretty much had. I just don't. I struggled drafting a run stuffing nose tackle in the first round, where I thought you can get more value at other positions. But again, Brad has proven that he's going to draft players that might not have the highest position value, and they turn out all right. So I see the need and where it was going, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me that Tyleik Williams was the pick. And I think he is a good player, but the issue last year was pass rush. And I don't think he's going to be doing much of rushing the passer unless he develops very quickly. So I don't dislike the pick at all. I just feel like there were other things that other positions where they could have been better off and maybe make a bigger impact this year when we're definitely still in a Super Bowl window.
Yeah, I think on draft night, we actually were going through the list, and I'm like, how many interior defensive linemen do we need here? We've got Aleem, we've got Reeder, we've got Levi, we've got now Tyreek, we've got Lloyd Lopez, you got Wingo, Broderick Martin, Josh Pascal, who should really be interior, not a rusher. And like, you're just like, where is everybody going to fit? I think we've kind of, cooled on that a little bit, and we're liking what we're seeing, and maybe Aleem is a little more hurt than we thought, but yeah, we were kind of thinking the same thing, where it's like, wow, that's a lot of guys on the interior piece when the big need is outside rush.
For sure. And yeah, you kind of mentioned it too. It's like, how many nose tackles do we need? I know Reeder's on the last year of his deal, and Roy Lopez, maybe he's just more of a stopgap. But yeah, it's like, I know the Lions like to stop the run, and they're really good at doing it. But we also have to be able to rush the passer. And where, outside of Hutchinson, yes, when he was on the field, their pass rush looked a lot better. But again, are we just one person away or one injury away from being in the exact situation we were at the end of the year? And I feel like all the best teams always have the best pass rushes. That always seems to be the common denominator. And Brad Holmes I feel like he's going a bit against the grain on that.
Yeah. Okri, I better pass it over to you here, because Logan and I are just going to go back and forth. And next thing you know, it's going to be a 4-hour show.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was waiting on. So while I'm sitting here pontificating and you're telling Logan how much you agree with all his takes and all that, I make an executive decision here on the show, Chops. We're going to go commercial free with Logan here, or at least not take our break, because the people know that we're going to load it up with ads all over the place anyway. But we just got to keep this conversation going. So I want to know this. I'm confused because Logan Lamorandier, my buddy, I hit him up on text, and he told me how he didn't do any draft prep this year. He was busy. He's got twins, the job, the this, that. Yet you just said you loved Isaac Tesla. Like, I can't imagine you're watching Arkansas football, or this guy was at the top of the Logan Lamorandier draft board. What was the number? Was he at like 182 or 186 or 98? Where was he on the board? Because like, this guy, to me, yes, you read after, and he's from here, and he can do this, and he's 6'4", and I'm sure Logan loves him as an athlete. But like,
ding ding, ring the bell.
I just feel like
this
was
got my attention.
This was so off the radar, and now everyone's trying to sell it as he's going to do this. We're all excited. Of course, we're going to root for our team, but the more I look at this guy, for everybody and their brother, says 5th, 6th round projection. You traded up 30 30 to 32 spots, gave up 2 future thirds to get a, how should I phrase this? A big,
project,
fast, Caucasian slot receiver that you think is going to now play outside and fit in when we already have Amon-Ra and hashtag Damo Fast. Like, to me, we're doing a lot of manipulation trying to make this make sense and work. I hope so much he plays well, but I guess that's my long-winded of saying, Logan, are you serious that you watched this guy, you read up on him, you knew him before the Lions called him at the podium? Because this guy wasn't on my list, but I've heard many experts say, we love him, but we thought he'd go way later. And, like, he just wasn't. I could have named 5-10 guys I probably would have had rather than him early in the 3rd round, basically, where they took him.
So I knew he was a local kid, and I actually, yes, the combine was the first thing I saw of him. I'm like, oh, this looks like an X receiver. So that's what perked up my ears. I'm like, this looks like a perfect X receiver. And then I started watching the film, and he was not an X receiver. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but he seems like he could be an X receiver. And so that's where I was at. And then PFF, or not even, I forget the podcast I was listening to. They mentioned him as well. And one of the guys on that podcast really liked him. And I was like, yeah, so I'm not the only one. It's just, it's a weird, everything that you mentioned describing him. Yeah, it just doesn't really add up. It's like, it looks like he should be an X receiver, but he's not. He's a big slot. And so that's where I just didn't know what to do with him. But I really liked him as a player. Like, he has a ton of great quality.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Is anyone out there?
Another salesperson enduring the endless search. Exhausting. If you want to get right to the right conversations, you need LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Whether you're looking for new leads or strengthening existing relationships at your top accounts, get right to the right conversations with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Try LinkedIn Sales Navigator now with a free 60-day trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial.
Terms and conditions apply!
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
It's almost Mother's Day, and you can now get anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. So no, you can't order a relaxing shower, but some beautiful flowers, you bet we deliver those. A bird bath? No. A bath bomb? Absolutely. It's no to a chocolate lab, but yes to some chocolate truffles. So whether it's a last-minute gift for Mother's Day, fresh groceries, or food from your favorite restaurants, get it delivered today with Uber Eats. Order now. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Qualities. He does everything well, at least out of the slot, and who knows how he is on the line of scrimmage trying to beat press coverage or, you know, his routes that he needs to run. But I just feel like he has all the tools. And you know me with athletes, you know, like that's what caught my attention. And I only ranked my top 100 guys. That's as far as I got this year. And I usually have like close to 300 of, and you know, by 200, they're just kind of all, you know, mushed together, but it's not really ranking them. But with him, yeah, he didn't make my top 100, but he was a guy I definitely wanted to keep an eye on in day 3 of the draft. It's just got him in day 2.
I just can't put it together because I'm looking like just on default ESPN. Overall rank 157, grade 58. I think that's out of 100. Position rank 17. We had to have him up at 70 and gave up 2 what I call very like valuable assets. Like this guy has to come in and like find his way in the end zone, like make a pretty consistent impact pretty early, and like that's not what I see for this type of player. I see like Bumsky stats year 1, limited usage, everyone's down on it, then maybe a better year 2 type of thing. So that's my ultimate wild card for sure is Isaac Tesla. But before I kick it back to Chops, I got to say one more thing, and I got to get this in because it's the perfect time. So Logan loves him because of he's tall, he's over 210 plus pounds, he runs a 4.3, he saw him at the combine, he looked the part. Chops did a whole podcast on, X receivers, anybody that's over 6'2", can they play, do they love football? And like what you said about him being a hometown kid, I think is so important because this guy wore his Lions jersey. He probably wowed Brad Holmes in the interview. The only reason Brad Holmes even watched this player is because he was wowed at the Senior Bowl of his blocking and he's talking junk to defenders. So to me, those are the things that they fell in love with, and I think that if that's what he's really made of, that can take him a long way because character matters more so than what did Brad Holmes have on his hoodie? Height, weight, speed, crossed out. So they obviously feel character is bigger, which I've had to say how many times on this show. I've had to tell you how many times. And now the GM of the Lions agrees with me too. So if he's got that, I think that will make him a really fun player for the fans and maybe a great talent here in Detroit. But it's TBD if you ask me, but we'll see. I hope he plays well. Chops, go ahead.
And I'll add to that, was he worth 3 third-round draft picks?
Yeah, that's where the big issue lies because he is a project. He can't just. That's what blows my mind sometimes is that these GMs are like, oh yeah, and especially Brad Holmes in the middle rounds is like sees a ball of clay and just has full confidence that they're going to be able to bring out the potential. But if you haven't seen them do something before, how do you know they're going to be good at it? And you're putting in so much risk with all the draft picks they gave up to get him. So I'm really rooting for him. But I get why people are like, why? Like even me when they drafted him in the 3rd round, I was like, what? I thought he was like a for sure day 3 pick. Like everything I saw was day 3. I'm like, okay. So it's interesting. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But I have a feeling like, it's not going to be all impactful, maybe outside of special teams this year, and unless there's some depth issues at receiver and he has forced into play. But I just don't like if we're trying to get better this year. I understand Brad has to look out for the future, but at the same time, we have to worry about this year too because the Super Bowl window. They tend to evaporate pretty quick. Even though you think you have a long window, there's a lot of teams I always think they have long windows, and all of a sudden things change quickly. So I just hope that he's taken into account this year as much as he is in the future.
Hold on real quick, Chops, I'm coming to you. 2 quick things. Don't say 3 thirds because when you trade up, you're using that team's third and you're giving them their third. So that's a wash. It's the 2 future thirds. And then also, Logan, when you're talking about the future, this isn't the type of player that I look at and go, he's going to be the guy in 2 years. This is a good role player at best. A second 3 receiver in my book at a high level, hopefully. So he doesn't have like that high level college production or like, hey, in 2 years, once he gets seasoned, maybe he's our WR2 or maybe he's a WR1 slot machine. I don't see that at all from this player, but I think he's going to be gritty, grimy, and a fan favorite, and I hope he plays well. Chops, sorry, buddy, go ahead.
No, it's all good. It's all good. A good discussion there. So, Logan, I'm curious, and I don't know, and this is actually my bad, right? Like, I should know if you put out your live on the clock picks that you have done in the past. Is that something that you did this year?
No, it was not.
Oh,
first year and like 10 years probably.
Oh, that's a big X. Man, that stinks, man. All right, I almost want to put you on the spot now. Like,
here we go.
Not that you'll know all the names, but there it is. At pick 28, the Logan Lions select.
Oh, good one.
So, I was a Jihad Campbell guy.
Okay.
Just because I think he's a great player. And Anzalone is not getting any younger, and I think down the line you're going to need a linebacker. And I get linebacker, as I talked about, value of positions and that a nose tackle isn't all that high, but neither is linebacker. But I think he's a difference maker and can play all over the field. And it bothers me every year because I see teams like the Ravens and the Eagles just drafting, I feel like, a true best player available at all times. Like every year, I'm like, how'd they get these players? And it's like, why can't, I think there's a reason why they're always good. It's because even if they don't even really need a player, they still draft them because they're good. And then if they have a starter, they either trade the starter off or they don't pay them, and they got someone waiting in the wings. So that was my pick if I had to choose at 28.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing. It's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Walmart Business saves you time, money, and hassle, which means you can focus on what really matters. Like putting the money you save back into what you do, spending more time training your team, filling orders, and finding new clients. Anything and everything, right down to, oh, that's the one, choosing the best hold music. Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at jif.com.
The edge defender from Boston College, I'm blanking on his hard name to say right now.
Raku.
Donovan
Yes.
Yeah.
He, if the Lions didn't have a scheme where I don't think he was necessarily a scheme fit, and I think he went 15, 20 picks after the Lions' first round pick, but he's a player I really liked. I would have taken him too, but I fully understood that it just didn't seem to be that type of player profile. Smaller edge rusher is just not what the Lions want, but that does bother me a little bit because I do feel like we could use some pass rushers. So I knew that I had in the back of my mind that probably wasn't an option, but it was a player I really liked.
Yeah, I think Oakley's probably tired of me hearing me say this too, but he knows how much I flippin' hate the Philadelphia Eagles, and every year I feel like the last 5 years they just take studs. And I'm like, how did they get all these players, all these dudes that were on my board? Picks that I wanted.
Wow.
And it's just it's annoying as hell. So, but you also mentioned a team, Baltimore. So I want to ask you this, and again, not necessarily Lions related, but on the night of the draft, Okri and I are just hoping, praying, keeping our fingers crossed that Malachi Starks somehow falls to the Lions at 28. And lo and behold, what happens? The hated Ravens snag him up right before us. Where were you at with that player? And would you have taken him if he was there?
Yeah, he would have been my top ranked player available if they'd taken him. So I know I was kind of disappointed, but again, I didn't know if the Lions, they have 2 starters, but they use 3 safeties all the time. So I felt like there could have been room on the field for him and just getting playmakers. The Lions have playmakers, but you can never have enough. And especially if you're not going to have an offensive line that's able to always get to the quarterback. But yeah, he was slipping, and I was hoping he would fall and the Lions could take him. But maybe that's what upset me too about the Ravens, because I'm like, oh, they took my guy. And then, just a few picks later, the Eagles drafted my other guy. I'm like, it's always the Eagles and it's always the Ravens taking all these players who slip. And I'm like, these players shouldn't be here. And they don't care. They still take them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I went back and looked at the Eagles draft last year, and I was like, love that guy, love that guy, love that. How the hell did they get that guy in the 3rd round? Love that guy. I'm like, oh, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna put you back on the spot if Okri's got the draft here, but I want to hear. I won't do this for every round because that'll just get ridiculous and we'll be here forever. But pick 57, Detroit Lions, Logan's Lions. Who are you taking with that pick there?
So that was Ratledge. That's why I like the pick. I mean, that's who I would have taken. So, I had no complaints there. Yeah, there's some other players that I liked, but Ratledge was at the top of my list.
Nice. All right, Okri, back to you.
All right. Should I retort? Should I play gimmicks, or should I get back to football?
Yes, and yes.
All the above.
I feel like my only issue with Mr. Lamorandier here today and in general is every year I bugged him to do the on-live draft pick challenge with us via the Google Sheets or a text. He always balks, yet that article always comes out that seems so intelligent after the fact of, oh, I definitely would have taken Tate Ratledge, everybody, yet there's no documentation live on the clock like me and Chops were scrambling. So that's my beef there. But I know you got your board, you make good picks, but when they're not live, they really don't count with me. I want to ask you about...
They are live.
They're not.
I didn't tweet them out. I usually tweet out pretty good.
Oh, but you didn't.
Like my players, but I didn't this year, no.
All you got to do, it's a quick text, buddy. Tate Rat.
Let's just wait a few years, and then I can use revision history. I'm like, I would have drafted all pros at every round.
We know your kind. We know how that works. I want to ask you.
That's why I did that. That's why I used to do that.
Now I'm getting frustrated. I want to ask you about this approach that Brad Holmes has been taking that most people are overlooking, but I'm sure you're not other savants of football like me and you and... Yeah, me and you. We don't miss this kind of stuff, and that's like Brad Holmes dipping into these top schools again and again. Alabama, Georgia, that other school down south.
Hey, listen, Ohio State sucks.
Ohio State is vanquished.
You know what I mean? Like, he put together this draft class, which is like 3 Georgia players, an LSU player, the school we shall not speak of. Like, don't you love this approach of going to the big schools, played against good competition, mixing in a flyer, a wild card that, even though we can't figure it out, seem to... fit in or be good guys, or we have high hopes for Avaki and Manu and the other players you mentioned earlier. I think this is a very tactful approach to get these guys, even in clumps. Like, I feel like the 3 Georgia guys are all going to, support each other, have a real good chance of making the roster. Dan Jackson's becoming a real big favorite of mine, of just, a no-nonsense football-playing dude that's going to help Tate Rat and Dominic Lovett too could even come along as a future wide receiver, gunner type thing. So where are you at with this approach of not only going to the big schools, but like double and even triple dipping at those schools, both for camaraderie and the way they were coached and all the things that come with it?
I just think there's a lot less projection with it. You're seeing guys at the top level in college, and if they're succeeding there, you're not wondering like, hey, at the next level, yes, the NFL is a jump, but it's not Giovanni Manu who came out of British Columbia, where it's like, well, how long before before the NFL game he kind of catches up? I just think of these big schools, the learning curve shouldn't be as intense. At these big schools too, that the football is life there, where they're essentially NFL. These colleges with how much money there is in it, and the weight rooms, and just the coaching they're getting, and nutrition. The NFL is still king, but it can't be too far off. And then I imagine Brad Holmes, when he's interviewing, like, say, for Georgia, all these Georgia players, like, he knows what type of personality he's getting, and getting fed information, on who's leaders and who's the grit guys, as a term you'd use. Like, I'm sure he gets all that information, and again, that's something that it's really tough to find on our end. So you have to trust in Brad Holmes there.
I think they have a nice mix of, getting what you expected from the big schools, as you mentioned, and still not being afraid to dip into some of these outliers and believe in their guys too. Hey, Chops, let's do this. I want to do a double dip type question, because this is one guy we haven't talked about. So I want to start it and you can finish it. But first I want to go around the table. Let's try to enunciate the 6th round pick, the 20th overall pick in that round, from Boise State, edge. Chops, go ahead.
Oh, Ahmad Hassanin.
Logan?
Ahmad Hassanin? I thought that's what it was.
I'm going to go with Ahmed Hassanian.
It does look like Hassanian, but
I don't know. I've heard it pronounced
right off the tongue any way you say it.
they all sounded correct, but this guy's getting all the pub. We love everything about him. He was productive. He's under the radar. He's a hard worker. He said all types of crazy things about what he would or wouldn't do with his life on the line for this football team. I'm hearing so much buzz that I want to know from Chops, like, are you buying in yet to all this hyperbole? Some would maybe call it boola boola, or are you like thinking we might have found a 6th round edge player that, maybe not from day one, but could Hassanian or whatever else we said, could he come in and really be a all hustle, get after you pass rusher, both now to some degree, but more so in the future for the Detroit Lions? Chops, what do you think? And then we'll go to Logan.
Well, listen, the typical response from Chops would usually sounds like it's boola boola, if you ask me. But hey, brother, the guy had stats in college, even though it was with Boise State. But, again, 3-year starter, was productive. So, he wasn't, I was looking at his PFF rank. I mean, they had him in the top 150. So it wasn't like it was a complete unknown, like some guys that we take from like William and Mary in Western Kentucky and other places like that.
Yeah, I understand. I got it in my head, dude.
But I think that he's a 6th round pick. He's going to be a project. I'd love to see him succeed. He's got the backing in college, but he's going to be playing big boy.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
We're shipping Mother's Day gifts with a rapid-fire round of questions. Ready?
Yes, my gift. Can you pack it?
Yep.
Ship it?
Yes.
Guarantee it?
Of course.
Oh, send gift baskets?
For sure.
Protect electronics? Dog-proof it? Return it if they hate it?
Yes, no, and yeah.
Are you the UPS store?
Hey, we have a winner!
Visit theupsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Visit a store today.
Play football now, so he's going to have to make adjustments there.
Since I invoked Beetlejuice, I just will tee it up this way when I send it to Logan. What if Hassanian says this to defenders?
It can't handle me. They ain't tough enough yet.
What if he gets after so many people, he puts them down to his knees, buddy?
I'll put him down to his knees, buddy.
I mean, I think this player could just literally take people out based on hustle and physicality alone. He's a martial artist, by the way. Black belt.
I mean, black belt, jeez. That's impressive.
Some other,
I did not know that.
Some other accolades I don't even know, from like the Congo, or I think he was over somewhere else before coming from Egypt. So this guy just has everything going for him except can he play football, which he didn't even know about 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's really the crazy part is he's still relatively new to the game and still learning. But yeah, you can tell just by his interviews. Yeah, full disclosure, he was. I had seen his name a couple times, but I did not watch film on him before the draft process. I looked at his numbers, and his athletic profile was nothing crazy. But he is a big defensive end, and that's what the Lions like. And it was a little surprising. Like the more tape I watched after the fact, I thought maybe he could be a little bit better against the run. I don't feel like he's run first, but he got to the quarterback, and it wasn't necessarily by flashy moves. It was just a powerful guy with a big motor. So is he a guy? I feel like in a lot of ways he's like going to be that Josh Pascal role, where if he's rushing the passer on passing downs, yeah, he's going to win with effort, not necessarily finesse or really flashy moves. So it's a depth piece in my mind. Hopefully, yeah, he can be more than that. But as a 6th round pick, there's not going to be many flashy pass rushers at that stage of the draft anyway. So if you find a guy who can get on the field and build a role and is reliable, and he's always going to give 110%, then go for it. But yeah, it was just I don't know. It's not like it blew my socks off when they drafted him, and I looked into it even more.
It's funny, like we're going through these picks, and I mean, you look at it, and like at first me and Chops were so upset on the mic, and then we start drinking that delicious Honolulu blue flavored Kool-Aid, and we get all excited, and now as we're going back through them, I'm going, I don't know. Like there's definitely some question marks, or some projections, some potential, some hope, some TBD with these players, but gosh, it'd be nice if this class works out well. The class last year takes a big leap. And oh, by the way, all the all-pros that we continue to pay millions and millions of dollars to ball out as well. But Chops, before I come to you, we've kept Logan. We know we always go longer than we should. We're coming up like 45 minutes, an hour. We haven't even plugged him up yet and given him his due. So we mentioned Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated is the main site where you can see what he writes. We got the Doc Macaroon. We've got all the other content. You also see Logan pumping out articles. But what you need to do is go to Lamorandier on the old Twitter machine, or X as they call it today, and he's always got takes and opinions. Yeah, he's a little bit out of the loop, but if you hit him up, or you want those stats, those numbers, and he's coming around to the fact that besides the facts and the numbers, the character matters as well. So you get all that content at L. Lamorandier. And do you still have this thing called Facebook page that you started years ago that have like 50,000 followers, or have you moved to the IG, or you on none of those now because you're just too awesome across the board, and the twins are keeping you up? But what's going on over there?
I'm on all of it. I just yeah, it's pretty much all the same. But yeah, Detroit Lions Lowdown on Facebook is the page where that's just getting articles posted left and right. all the Lions information you need is on there. Yep, same Twitter handle. I think I'm on Threads and whatever the new one is, Blue Sky. But
wow,
Lamorandier, just search up LAMORANDIR, and yeah, you're probably gonna find me.
Nice, awesome. Now, all I want for all those platforms is next NFL draft for you to be a little more ready, and also we need the live picks, either on the platforms or you can text me at Derek Oakrey. You know the number, and I will document those that you wrote me before the Lions picked. We'll write them down, and then those will actually count, right, Chops? Those will actually be like legit things that you can talk about for years to come, rather than I told you so, I would have, I meant to do it, but right?
Yeah. If they're not live on the clock, I mean, you can play revisionist history, but if you don't make them live, Oakrey doesn't count them. Trust me, I know.
I'll put it in my notes for next year. I'm sure you'll remind me as well.
Yes, we need to get that done.
I've got a special request for you too, Logan. With all these, this insider knowledge that you've got, I'm sure you've got contacts at Ford Field. I need to get some video footage of Gio Manu versus Ahmad Hassanen, one-on-one, who's beaten who on the edge, the two projects, the future, maybes. I want to see some one-on-one action against those two guys going head-to-head. Can you make that happen for me?
I'll see if I can pull some strings,
my favorite is during the draft when Chops talks about his sources and he's getting texts, and I'm like, no, you're not. We're not that show. And you meant to say Hassanian, right? That's the guy we're talking about. Is that the guy you remember, Logan?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hassanian?
We just need to find variations of his name for the rest of the year. Just always pronounce it a little different. That'll be a new gimmick for sure.
Well, that's like my last name. It's Logan. Just kind of tapered off into a mumble.
I don't come on here to pat myself on the back. You guys both know that, but I feel like I've nailed Lamorandier, both spelling, pronunciation, since day one. I think I can tout that at least.
That's impressive.
That is a mouthful.
Choppy Chop, we got a few more minutes left. Do you have a juicy, delicious question that's just going to blow Logan's mind, or do you want me to just keep running this show?
You know what happens when I take over, man. It gets kooky and crazy. But Logan, I'm going to put you on the spot again here. Do you happen to have or know off the top of your head? Well, actually, no. Let me spin that. I was going to ask you what the people voted for grades for the Brad Holmes 2025 draft, but actually, I want to hear your grade and give me some justification. Lions draft 2025, the Logan Lamorandier grade for the Lions.
I usually do. I didn't do it this year, but I'll do draft grades. And I feel like people always think I'm really harsh because like a C is considered average on my scale. But whenever I look at draft grade, it's like if any draft analyst gives any team a C, everyone's like freaking out. So, I would give it an average grade, whatever letter you want to put on an average grade. I don't think it was a home run. I mean, yeah, we're a few weeks after the draft, and it takes years to evaluate it in its entirety. But from my standpoint, it was a pretty average draft considering, the Tesla pick, but then also getting Frazier, where I feel like it kind of made up for it. I think it was very average. I'm not, after the draft was done, I was like, oh, all right. Well, I hope some of these players can be impactful this year. And I think the top two picks can be, but they're at positions where it's not necessarily high impact, and the Lions they didn't really need any high impact. They have those players already. So I'm giving it a solid C if C is considered average and B is above average, A is good. So
all right. Well, I mean, it's better than a PFFF that I saw some people giving them out to the Brad always put for business Holmes draft. But okay, a C average draft grade. I'll take it.
Chops, hold on.
I
gotta jump in. Logan, do you want to know my response to Chops asking you about a letter grade for the Lions like a week or two after the draft? Do you want to know?
Yeah, it's probably like a bunch of people who always want to remind me, "Oh, you can't grade the draft until a few years down the road." I'm like, yeah, but what's the fun in that?
This has nothing to do with you. This has issues with my co-host asking that type of question, and I want to respond in gimmick form to how I felt about that question. Are you ready?
Ready. Go for it.
That drives me freaking bonkers.
Logan, do you want to know how I feel about you saying half of this and giving them a C grade in the middle where you're unsure if it's going to be good, but you like some of the picks? You want to know my reaction to that?
What?
Do you think it might be similar?
That drives me freaking bonkers.
I got to ask both of you this question.
What the hell?
Like, Logan, you have great content, great stats, great opinions, great insight. Not so good on takes. A C isn't a take. Maybe they're going to be good. I think, I hope, I like this, I don't like... You gotta come stronger than that on the Koolaid Cast. So I hate the grade question from Chops. I hate that you gave it a right down the middle C. You both are driving me freaking bonkers over here. I want to end with this. Logan, based on what the Lions did last season, 15 dubs, what the Lions didn't do in their first playoff game, which is show up against the Washington Commanders, what they did in the offseason and free agency... Oh, sorry. Had the crickets out during free agency. What they did or didn't do, as you said and you articulated immaculately in the draft, which was maybe some good, maybe not so good. We'll see. I'm not sure. Like, have they done enough? Has this team done enough to maybe win less ball games, but maybe, I don't know, get home field again and show up for their fans and make a run and get to the Super Bowl and, I don't know, lift the trophy at the end of the year? Have they done enough? Or you need to wait and see? Or are you going to come strong at the end and have a pound the table take for our Detroit Lions and all the loyal, diehard Detroit Kool-Aid drinkers out there? What do you think, sir?
I'll say this, is that I don't think they're going to win as many games this year, which it's tough to repeat that. But it's injuries. They haven't... Did they improve the team? No, I don't feel like they really did. But they're getting so many players back where if they can stay healthy, I think, yeah, they can definitely make a playoff run. They should have made a playoff run last year. All right. It's so frustrating how the season ended. And I don't think one game, completely describes their season as a whole. They had one down performance. But I will say that defense showed its weaknesses. Like the concerns that you had about that Lions roster at the end of the year, they showed up in the playoff game. So, yes, the Lions, I don't think I was hoping that they made more of a push this year to get better, but I'm not counting them out of a Super Bowl run and to win more playoff games than last year. I still think they're the division favorite, as they should be. The conference, I think they're right up there with the Eagles, and the Eagles are a good team, and the Eagles got better. They lost a lot too, but I don't know. Was that middle of the road enough for you?
I think that was relatively strong from you. It started out negative of like they didn't do enough, but then you said favorites. You said they can do this, can do that. So I will accept that as a take, as well as positivity here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Drink it in, everybody.
Drink it in, man.
Chop, this is normally where you take us home with something goofy, or you tell Logan how appreciative you are, how much you agree with him, and how great it was to have him, and how you're going to have him back, even though we all know it's probably going to be at least 6 months before we can reel him in again. Like, go ahead and do some of that while I look for more drops to play, and then we'll thank him on the way out, because this has been awesome.
Oh, I mean, I was feeling kind of hurt because you asked that question to Logan, but then you didn't ask me if what I thought about the offseason as a whole. So, poor old Choppy, doesn't matter if he thinks the Lions are going to be 13-4 with 3 playoff wins and raising Lombardi this year. No one cares what Choppy thinks. It's all about Mr. Logan. But no, in all seriousness, Logan, we love having you on the show. Happy that we were able to make this work before or after the draft, before the offseason really, or OTA started kicking in. Let's do this more often. Here you go, Okri, all the gimmicks here. Let's do it again soon, Logan. It's a fun show. It's, again, just a great time. You know, I know you're a busy man like me, both of us having twins. That's why we rock. And, you know, life is crazy. But look, we still have time for our Lions. And we have time to go to the Super Bowl in 2025.
Love it. I also want to say, Logan, thank you so much, because I'm pretty sure you don't share this show with friends, colleagues, because I always tell you before that it's going to go off the rails and it's going to be not this like normal football show like you used to do back in your day or that you'd probably prefer. But you rolled with the punches, man. I threw so many sound drops at you today, so many side things that it's just so cool for you to be able to do that and then also give all the great football knowledge that you do, man. It's impressive because I know we can throw you for a loop a lot with the way we do this show, but the people love it. I know they're going to be just drinking it in when they see Logan Lamorandier on the marquee, as well as the return of your football knowledge. I was going to say takes, but knowledge, stats, opinions, thoughts. And, man, it was just so fun to have you back, man. You're the best.
No, I appreciate it, guys. It was great talking some football again. Yeah, I don't take much convincing. It's just finding the time, you know? And if we can make it work more often, as I always say, let's do it, because I know this time always just flies by because it's so easy to talk about, and love talking about this stuff with you guys. So appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Like I say, there's so much more we could get into, but everybody, that's what we got. And we'll catch you next time right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Team Logan for
life.
Drink it in, man.